What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more news for you. But not only just news, we've got a small matter of another trophy to play for tomorrow night.
European trophy.
In Udine, PSG against Tottenham. The Europa League winners face the Champions League winners in the Super Cup. Me and Sim are flying out bright and early tomorrow morning, and I cannot wait to get out there. Apparently it's absolutely scorching out in Italy, over 35 degrees. So let's hope Spurs put in a hot performance as well.
Yeah, and if you want to back one North London club in a European final, there's only one to back.
Exactly.
It's us.
Only one ever get there.
Exactly. So another European trophy up for grabs. I'm all for it. Look, if Chelsea can beat PSG, why can't we? It's their first game of the season, the pre-season. So let's do it. Nothing to fear.
Yeah, look, we'll get into all of the Super Cup stuff a bit later on in the stream, but we're going to start off with a Tottenham update, and we're going to start off talking on Savinho of Manchester City. Fabrizio Romano says that he thinks that Tottenham will really push for the Savinho deal again in the next hours and days. Man City want at least 70 million euros. Savinho is quite open to joining Tottenham, and Thomas Frank is really pushing for him at this moment in time. And look, I think 70 million euros is a fair price, to be honest. I really do. I think a player of that quality, a player of that ceiling, the year behind him of Premier League experience, which he'll only get better from, he'll only learn from, and if we can sign him, I think we'll only reap the benefits from. And, you know, before he joined from Man City, he was one of the hottest products in European football. The way he just took the La Liga by storm, by all the stats and metrics, he was one of the standout players in Europe. So bring him in. That's what I say.
Yeah, I hope we're pushing. I hope we're really going for it. I hope we're serious about this, because I think we should try and get this deal done if there's a possibility by any means necessary, put it that way. And I think sometimes when an opportunity like Savinho pops up, because Man City are willing to let him go, not because of how he's a bad player or anything like that, but because they're looking for an even bigger player like a Rodrigo, who I think Savinho has the ability to be his equal potentially down the line. I think Man City's looking at the situation and they think they need a more ready-made player in that front three. So it's leading to a situation where he's become available. And I think would be so stupid and silly to let this opportunity pass us by. I think he's a top talent. He's already shown it for me in the Premier League. He can play at this level to a really good standard. I know you could brand him with the brush of good dribbler, looks flashy, but does he have an end product, all that kind of stuff. But he already got 8 assists last season just in the league.
11 in all comps.
11 in all comps. One goal obviously he needs to improve on, but if you look at some of his shots he took last season and some of the positions he's taken up, I think the goals are going to come. I think it's just a matter of time. If he keeps getting himself in those positions, he's got a good shot on him, and he was very unlucky with a lot of efforts. He reminds me of Mbeumo when he was very early on in his Spurs career. Not Spurs career, Premier League career.
No, I knew you were going to say that, because I was literally just thinking in my head, I was about to ask you, like, does he remind you of Mbeumo? Because I remember what you were saying about Mbeumo. He kept hitting the post. He had a really good shot, but it was just those fine margins that he wasn't hitting, right?
Exactly.
And then in the car on the way here, you basically spoke in the same vein about Savinho.
Yeah, and that's what came to mind. And in Mbeumo, he was such an exciting player, but that little end product, he was very unlucky. Inches he was away from being the forward that he is now today, because he refined that finishing. Look, to be fair, it did take him a few years. It didn't happen overnight. But as soon as he started hitting the corners instead of hitting the post and getting it saved by fingertip saves, he's now one of the most sought after wingers in the Premier League, and he's got a big move to Man United, and he got 20 Premier League goals last season. I think Savinho is going to be like that. I think you see some players like Adama. Let's say you're comparing him to like an Adama Traore, who's in some ways similar, very good at dribbling, but his end product is lacking. He's not the kind of player who when you look at him, and he's not always having those attempts on goal. His shot technique is not as good. You don't look at him thinking he's got goals just ready and waiting. He he is frustrating because his shot technique isn't so fantastic, and it's not like he's just inches away. He needs a lot of work to that. Savinho is very close. You look at him, I'm telling you, look at how he shoots, and you look at how close he gets at this young age. I'm telling you, he's waiting to explode in goal scoring. I think assisting, he's already pretty much like a creative force. He already creates a lot of chances. I think when you look at key passes per 90, I think he was up there last season. You saw some of the assists he had for Haaland. Amazing ability to cross the ball on his left foot, and he opens up space just naturally with his dribbling, and he needs to maybe work on his final decision making. But when it comes to execution, it's really impressive. I think it will get there when it comes to his shooting. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I would be willing to pay 70 million for him. Do I think in the current transfer market value, right now, is he 70 million? Look, in my estimation, it's probably an overpayment. But for me, when you have an opportunity and the only way of getting him in is to overpay slightly to get him in, I think it's stupid not to do it, in my opinion. And I think it's worth doing. And he's very young as well. If it doesn't work out for one reason or other, you can probably still get a decent fee for him down the line if we need to sell him. So because he's still very young. So I think it's a smart investment from Tottenham. I think you get him through the door right now, and I think you got a winger there that's going to be playing for you, whether on the wing for many years to come, in my opinion. And I think he's a superstar in the making. I really do. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think the impact he made in the Premier League, I think he goes under the radar because City had a poor year and because maybe he didn't get the goals he should have last season. People think he had a bad year. Now, I would say he maybe had a difficult year. I would agree with that. But bad, no, not at all. I thought he was actually really impressive last season.
I think the one thing that was disappointing was his goal return, wasn't it? 1 goal in the Premier League over the course of the campaign, particularly playing for a team like Man City. You do expect more, particularly when, in La Liga, he got I think 10 or 11 goals the season before, as well as 10 or 11 assists. So I think 1 goal last season for Man City is very disappointing. And when we're looking to get those goal contributions, to caveat what Son and Maddison and Decky are leaving, it does leave a bit of a question mark. But in terms of pure ability, and if I think he can get there in the end, I'm 100% backing this transfer and 100% behind him. And it was made me thinking last night, I was having a conversation with someone, do I think that Savinho can be the kind of long-term successor to Son? Can I see him on the right or the left? Doesn't really matter at this moment in time, but what I'm saying is, can he get those consistent goal contributions that Sonny used to get for us? Can he get to that level? And I actually think he can.
I think he's a bit of a different winger to Son. I think he's...
I'm not talking about in terms of style, I'm talking about in terms of contributions.
Yeah, I think when it comes to goal contributions, I wouldn't say he's the successor to Son, but I think he can bring something massive to the front line. I think he can get consistent goal contributions, 100%. Son was obviously like an absolute killer in front of goal. That was his main attribute. He was one of the most effective forwards you can ever get. Yeah. Now Savinho is quite different to that right now anyway. Not to say he can't develop that side of the game, and I do think he will, and I do think he's got a good shot on him. He's quite one-footed, I would say, as well. So he's very much doesn't like to use his right foot. He very much sticks to his left. But I think we've got obviously a lot of potential on those wings with him. We got Odobey, you got Tell as well. I think when it comes to profile-wise, I would say Tell is the most similar to Son out of all of those players. But I think Savinho just brings a different dimension again to the attacking line. Obviously, you got Kudus in there as well. I think the question marks about goal contributions, I think, will remain even when he signs, because will he get them next season, I guess, is the question. Whether he can get there long term, I'm very confident. Whether he can get there this season, I guess that's the big question mark. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough to expect that. I do think he'll be getting regular assists, but is he going to be getting 10 goals next season? I think he's capable of it, but I wouldn't put my house on it, put it that way.
The thing is, right, Savinho with his... I think he's got unbelievable crossing ability from what I've seen. Those whipped crosses just seem to be on the money. And last season, he was whipping them into Erling Haaland. And I wouldn't be surprised. I haven't seen the stats, but I wouldn't be surprised is the majority of his assists had Erling Haaland on the end of it.
That was also something.
And at Spurs, obviously, he's going to have Dominic Solanke or Richarlison, who are obviously not on anywhere near the same level as someone like Erling Haaland. So there is that to say as well.
Yeah, and Haaland's obviously physically an absolute freak. You see I was watching some of the goals Savinho assisted him last season.
How many were to crosses into Haaland?
A lot of them were, and some of them as well was like, how the hell did Haaland even get that? Like, I was watching, and so that's obviously got to be taken into consideration. But as well, some of them were just peaches from Savinho, and it wasn't just crosses; there was through balls there. I remember one against Arsenal. He spins Calafiori into the middle of the pitch and then just plays an inch perfect through ball to Haaland, and that's like one of the meanest defences. He just opens up like that in a flash, and that's his ability that he's got. I think he started off probably better than he finished last season in terms of his season at City. I think he had a better first half of the season than he did second half. I don't know what kind of happened to him second half of the season, but he wasn't as good. But look, you got to remember he's still young. Players of his age are going to be inconsistent. You can't expect them to be world beaters. I know sometimes they are. You get the odd few who are just really consistent at that age. But by and large, the rule is when you're his age, 21, it's going to take time to get that consistency. It's all a learning curve. Yeah. So I think for me, from what I saw from a player of his age at that level, was really impressive. And as you say, following on from a very impressive season in La Liga as well, I think there's a real star in the making there. And I think it's just an opportunity there that you've just got to take up if you're Tottenham. It's not going to cut. These opportunities don't come around too often, and if you let them pass you by, you're going to regret it. If we don't sign him this summer, I guarantee whether he stays at City or goes somewhere else, we'll be looking back at this thinking we should have either just paid the money or we should have just done everything we could have to got this opportunity, because we would be missing out on a real gem. That's my belief.
I agree. In terms of when and how we can get this deal over the line, I do think Spurs would go to something close to like 70 million euros. And do you think that Man City will sell him to us? I got a feeling that they're going to wait until after we play them, or put some clause that he can't play his debut against Man City or something.
Yeah, he might do. I wouldn't be surprised how these things work in modern football. Maybe the deal will drag on a bit anyway, but yeah, maybe only get finalised after. I mean, that's still a while, to be fair. When is that?
It's next weekend.
No, we play Man City next weekend.
Yeah, we play Burnley this weekend and Man City next weekend.
So what, 2 weeks? 10 days? We play Man City in 10 days?
Yeah, a week on Saturday.
Okay, so it's not too long to wait, I guess, in that sense. Yeah, it could be. We might have to wait until then.
Yeah.
We might not. I mean, it could go either way. I wouldn't say that would be a deal breaker.
No, it's not going to be a deal breaker. I just got a feeling that, how these things sometimes work out. But if we do sign him, you're looking at the wing options now and you start to feel a lot more comfortable about it. With Savinho, Odegaard and Tell on the left-hand side, Kudus and Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side. I'm much more comfortable going into the season with that. And I think, it adds so much more dimensions to our play. But that's the Savinho.
But I would say, yeah, I mean, it does. But if the big complaint, I would say, going into the season is we don't have enough ready-made stars. I don't know if this alleviates that necessarily.
No, I get that, but I feel like it just adds so much more quality to the front line.
Yeah, but it's also, it shows it's not just about ready-made. It's about the talent, and I think that's what Savinho brings. Yeah,
and I think that it's always been a question of you want to buy ready-made talent, but it's not just about bringing in potential. It's not just about bringing in ready-made talent. You want a mixture of the both.
Exactly.
And far too often at this football club, we're just focusing on potential. Savinho is a very high potential player, but he's also got experience at the top level in La Liga, in the Eredivisie, and now in the Premier League last season. So he's actually an experienced potential player that has shown it. And we've bought in terms of ready-made players like Mohamed Kudus, like João Palhinha. So I think it's a good mix.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Next up, we're going to talk about the Eberechi Eze deal once again, as Fabrizio Romano says that Eze is keen on Tottenham move, as Palace are informed of his desire to play Champions League football. Deal now depends on club-to-club talks, but Spurs are seriously working on it, as reported earlier. I think in this moment, Tottenham are ahead of Arsenal because Tottenham are prepared to go very strong for Eberechi Eze. Miguel Delaney says there is widespread belief that Eberechi Eze's saga may come to a head this week. Eze is open to joining Spurs, with the club looking to seize a window of opportunity to possibly beat rivals Arsenal to his signature. Jacob Steinberg says that Tottenham are pushing to beat Arsenal to the signing of Eberechi Eze, and the Mail are saying that Tottenham are expected to make a formal offer to Crystal Palace for Eberechi Eze this week.
Are we actually doing this?
I don't know.
Are we actually doing it?
I don't know if we're actually doing it.
Is
But
it happening?
I'm telling you, if this happens, it is going to send the Gooners into meltdown, absolute meltdown. And you know what? If he goes to Arsenal at this point, it's going to send Spurs fans into absolute meltdown as well. It'll be great getting one over Arsenal in terms of bringing in a player that they desperately want at the club. But aside from that, I think this guy is the key. This guy is the key for us because I'd prefer to sign him than Savinho, but I do think we need both, obviously. But if it was one or the other, I'm picking Eberechi Eze all day long because he can cover on the left as well. We're desperate for a 10. I don't know a 10 that's on the market right now that's anywhere close to Eberechi's level. And we've just wanted him for so long as well. It'll be great to see him in a Spurs shirt. And ahead of Arsenal in the race. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing is, it just sounds too good to be true to be able to bring in Eze and Savinho in the space of in this one window or space of a few weeks. It just seems like that is something that would never happen to a club like Tottenham. We would never be able to pull something like this off. And
just like when we thought it was too good to be true to bring in Gibbs White and Kudus in 24 hours.
Exactly, and it did turn out to be too good to be true, unfortunately. I just hope that Tottenhamitis doesn't kind of infect these deals and something goes wrong, which happens a lot. Look, at this point, if either of these deals don't come off, it's going to be majorly disappointing. But as a Tottenham fan as well, you can't really expect either of them to come off because these are the kind of deals which we usually get linked to a lot, but we never actually pull the trigger and actually never get over the line. When it comes to Eze, I'm a massive fan of him. I've been a fan of his for a long, long time. I think he's been phenomenal for Crystal Palace for many, many years. I think whether he was out wide on left or even more recently, more in a number 10 kind of left 10 kind of position under Glasner, I think he's done a phenomenal job. I think he's got a really great mentality as well. He's got a really good head on his shoulders. You can see he's really well liked, I think, across the Premier League. I think he's got... He's very professional as well. He's very different to the likes of Isaac, who's refusing to play. Even though Isaac, you can say Eze might have more of a case to be pushing for a move than someone like Isaac right now. And Eze is very much continuing to play for Palace. Played quite a good game in the Community Shield on the weekend, and he's continuing to be very professional for Crystal Palace and play quite well right now. And that goes to show the kind of person he is. I think the player he is as well, phenomenal. A lot of people call him, say he's another dribbly kind of player head up with Kudus and Savinho, and obviously that is like his major strength. But I do think that is maybe because of how Palace play a lot. And I think it's because Palace ask him to do that kind of role, ask him to get on the ball, take people on, open up the space in that way. I do think he's more than capable of opening up defences with his passing range. I think he's a very good passer, in my opinion. I think if you look at his key passing stats, it's quite high most seasons. And that is for a Palace team who, aren't asked to create too many chances. They play on the counter-attack. So I think... I don't have too much of an issue of asking him to do that, in my opinion. I don't see him as someone who's lacking with his passing. Yes, maybe he's better dribbler than he is a passer, but I think if you ask him or hone in on that skill that he does have, I think he can use it just as well. I think he's a very good passer with the ball, very good player, playing through balls and long-range passing and things like that. I think if you ask him to use that skill set, he'll just use it more, and he's got that weapon in his armoury, in my opinion. So I'm not worried about that. For me, I think he's got that ability to break down defences with his passing range, and he's got a brilliant shot on him from outside the box as well. Very good at set pieces, adds another set piece threat for us. We've seen him take free kicks and corners for Palace with regularity and to good effect. I think he's just the perfect player for us, what we need right now. The fact that he's played as a winger throughout his career and as well has developed that ability to play the number 10 in the pockets in recent years and done that phenomenally is a great asset for us as well. Means if and when the likes of Decky come back, or down the line Maddison come back, we can fit them all in, I think, in my opinion. And I think he'll fit in like a glove at Tottenham. Obviously we've got those famous pictures of him and Son and doing fashion shoots, having a nice laugh. Those shots of him at the Tottenham Stadium, his family being wined and dined and being groomed to come play for Tottenham. So I think it will just be a match made in heaven. The only big question mark is if we now go hard and push the big red button and either activate the release clause or, put the money up that's required to get him in, does that activate Arsenal into action? Do they match our offer straight away? Are they in limbo? Are they actually not able to put the money on the table right now before they sell players? Or is it a case of they'll panic and put the money on the table and try and sell players after the fact? It's hard to know where they stand at the moment. All we know is right now, they've not put the money on the table for one reason or another. They've been the ones who've been in negotiation with Palace for quite a few weeks now, and for one reason or another haven't been able to either agree a deal or stump up the money that's required. There's some suggestions they're not able to right now while they're looking to sell. But will that change things if Tottenham, make that bid? I guess we'll have to see in the coming days. Yeah. That is obviously the worry, and that's put a bit of anxiety in a lot of Tottenham fans.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern. We've heard reports today that Arsenal are, looking to move Trossard on, and he could potentially leave from now to the end of the window. And this is why Spurs need to act extremely fast at this moment in time. We need to get this deal done, and we need to agree a fee with Palace. We've heard that Eze is keen to join Tottenham. So quickly agree a fee with Palace before Arsenal can get any players out the door. And then it just leaves it firmly in Eze's court. And if he's willing to accept the contract offer quickly, we could have him, signed, sealed and delivered before Arsenal could even blink. So let's get this done.
Is there also maybe a hope that the fact that Arsenal have been dilly-dallying on this deal, do you think maybe it's in Eze's mind, like, these guys, they're not that serious about me?
Yeah, there's that, but there's also a fact that he's actually going to be a much more important player for Tottenham than he would be for Arsenal.
It's also true.
At Arsenal, they got Odegaard in the 10, who's their captain. Mm-hmm. On the left-hand side, they got Martinelli, they've got Madueke, who they've signed there now, and he's not like an out-and-out left winger anyway. At Spurs, there's a clear spot waiting for him to be the main man right in the middle, right in the heart of the team. We desperately need him. He's of much more importance to Spurs than he is of Arsenal, and he might be looking at that and being like, do I want to be a kind of bit part squad? He would still get a significant game time at Arsenal.
Where does he start, Arsenal? Does he start off the left, or does he start next to Odegaard? Like, if you're picking Arsenal's best 11,
fans are saying they want Odegaard benched for him. A lot of Arsenal fans are saying that, but I don't know if Arteta would actually do that. Is he going to bench his captain? I think he'll see a lot of minutes on the left, and when Odegaard needs a rest, he'll go into the middle. Or if Odegaard keeps putting in stinkers, then he will replace him at some point. So I think that Eze will get significant game time at Arsenal. However, at Spurs, I think he'll literally be straight away one of the main men, and that's it.
Do you think if he's thinking, let's say he's thinking about the World Cup next summer, where do you think his best avenue of getting in that World Cup squad is? Is it being a left winger, or is it being a number 10? And if, given whatever answer that is, he's obviously probably going to be more of a number 10 for Spurs and potentially more of a left winger for Arsenal. So where do you think Eze, does he feel his best position is? Does he feel like he's more
10? I think.
You think he feels like he's more of a 10? So then surely Tottenham's the best place for him.
Yeah, well, in terms of positional wise and from a sporting merit, then yes, but then there's other aspects to it where obviously Arsenal are much further ahead for us. They're fighting for bigger things than us, and he's also an Arsenal fan. Yeah. So there's a few different elements. It depends on the way Eze is looking at this deal. That's what it depends on. But I think if we make it known to him that he's going to be the main guy, we push really hard, make him feel really wanted, get on the phone to Frank, let him sell the project as well, then I think there's a big possibility that we can get this done whilst Arsenal are dilly and dallying.
Yeah. And I think if Arsenal are putting out this position like, we'll bring you in if we can afford you, and if we sell it to him, look, we want you in at all costs, then maybe he'll look at that and think, okay, these guys are more serious about me. They really want me. And, Arsenal want apparently as well, when WeAre just signed a new deal, he wants guaranteed, game time. They see him as a number 10 option as well. Does Eze block that kind of pathway in that sense? So I think, I don't know, something tells me Arsenal want this deal on the cheap. They don't want to really pay for this. And maybe if we show we're willing to pay the money, maybe he'll think, okay, maybe this really is a better place for me.
I tell you what though, I'm not ready to do this all over again after the Morgan Gibbs White debacle.
I know, we've got PTSD.
We've all got PTSD. Tottenham this time, please.
It's funny, I was watching a Palace YouTuber Ollie Thomas, and he was giving his opinion on the transfer, and he was saying, if I was Palace, I would not let Tottenham get Eze. Maybe I'd allow Arsenal to get him, but I wouldn't let Tottenham get him. I think he's too good for Tottenham. All this kind of stuff. It's like, why does everyone just have this view of Tottenham, like they want to just keep us in our place? They can't let us get too good. Can't let Tottenham get him. Why does he care if he go? Why would he prefer he goes to Arsenal than Tottenham? Why is it such a big deal? Is it because he sees Palace as being able to finish above Tottenham and Arsenal?
Well, yeah, Palace finished above Tottenham last season, so it does make sense from that kind of standpoint.
I know, but it's like we just want to keep you there. We can't have Tottenham getting too good. We have Marinakis basically saying he can go to City, but he can't go to Tottenham. It's like, just allow us to use our money, and if players want to come here, then allow us to sign them. Stop trying to keep us in our place. We're a big club. We just won a European trophy, all right? We're the ones, we're Europa League champions.
Pleading.
It's like this whole thing is just does my head in. All these people just no, you can't sell to Tottenham. The whole Premier League is saying you can't sell to Tottenham.
Yeah,
honestly.
But look, I just can't be let down once again. I'm trying to control myself and being not get too overexcited about these two deals.
The prospect is too exciting not to get excited. It's so
exciting to bring in two players of this caliber, Eze and Savinho. I can't help myself get overexcited and dream about the prospects of having these three behind a striker, but there's just something in the back of my mind.
I just think
this
it all comes down
all over again.
I think it all comes down to this. What Smith's saying is it actually happening?
You know what I mean?
Is
come
it?
On.
This is what I think Smith has got it spot on. This is I think what everyone is truly thinking. It's all great talking about Savinho and Eze and all this stuff. It's all well and good talking about potential and these deals in the pipeline. But at the end of the day, is your gut telling you we're really at the end of the window? Savinho and Eze are going to be Tottenham players. Because your gut, because my gut tells me they're not. Yeah. That's what my gut tells me. As much as logically I can understand why these deals could happen, and I want these deals to happen. I'm excited about these deals to happen. When I envisage Tottenham's window, do I really envisage in the in column Savinho and Eze actually being there?
It's just not who we are, mate.
It's just not what I can't actually believe that we are going to be signing both of them.
I know, but just surprise us, Tottenham, please. Get these deals done. And if we do end up with a window of Eberechi Eze, Savinho, Kudus, Tel, Palhinha, and even you can add in Kevin Danso and Kota Takai. I mean, do you remember a better transfer window ever for Tottenham?
No, it'd be our best ever window. I mean, surely it would be most ever money spent.
Yeah.
And it would be, and in terms of getting the talent there, phenomenal talent we've got in. I mean, it set us up in a really good way. Would you say if that's the window, has Frank been backed? I guess that's always a question that comes up. If
Frank would definitely have been backed with this window. You're bringing in three. You're bringing in Tel, obviously, who was on here on loan, who's got high potential, hasn't really lived up to it as of yet. You've got Eberechi Eze and Mohamed Kudus, who are Prem-proven quality players. You've got Savinho, who's a year in the Prem, smashed it in La Liga, high potential player, and I mean I put him worlds apart to Matisse Tel at this moment in time. You've got a young prospect in Kota Takai and Kevin Danso, who flourished for us last season. So I think that it's definitely a case of backing Frank. I would say the only place that we're light on is at left back. I'm kind of comfortable with every other position.
Yeah, I think left back and I
striker.
Striker, depending on what's happening with Solanke and Richarlison. If we sell Richarlison and don't sign someone, I'd say we're definitely light. If they'll
move Tel. Tel's going to be the backup 9, isn't he?
And I'd say we're quite light in that one. If we keep Richarlison and if he can stay fit, I think we're okay. But that's always a big question. And I think centre back as well. I can understand the argument to say that we're still a bit light there, just because Dragashin, if he is out still till November, December, Takai, is he actually an option now or is he not? I don't know. And if the answer is no, then it leaves you really with Danso, Romero and Van der Ven and maybe Ben Davis, but he's supposed to be covering left back. So I think there's still a bit of an issue there, but it's maybe an issue you can manage, but it's still quite a bit of an issue. But yeah, left back's a big one for me.
The reality is you're looking at last season to this season, the attacking options are a lot better. I think for me, in terms of the number 9, Dom Solanke has a big year to prove himself. You've got creators now in there with Eze, Kulusevski to come back. You've got Savinho, who can create chances. You've got Mohamed Kudus, who can create chances. You've got players behind them as well that can create chances. So it's a big season for Dom Solanke, and he needs to pick up the goals.
I saw a lot of people suggesting if Savinho does come and Rishi Dutt leaves, maybe Brenner moves to striker.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't be against that
something
at all.
that people are thinking.
Yeah, I wouldn't be against that. And, that's the kind of assumption or prediction that we were going for when Frank was first linked with us and when we first got Frank, saying Brennan would, he would serve well as a more central player. I just can't see him working out on the wings under Frank. I just can't see it.
Yeah, just what I've seen, especially off the left, I don't want to see him there. And yeah, I think he had a very specific role under Ange. It was very system specific.
He's a good finisher. He's a good finisher.
It was very system specific. And look, maybe under Frank they can develop a system as well and get Johnson to maximise his capabilities. But I think if he does move to a striker, it's a striker which offers something different as well, isn't it?
He is. However, I do worry for Johnson in the number 9 when we're trying to spam crosses in there and him trying to win it in the air. I don't think he's up to that.
No, but specific games you're playing, even if let's say you're
Liverpool away,
yeah, exactly,
away,
where there's space and you can just you get him in early, and I think in transitions he could be up front, get him central, and he's good finisher on both feet as well. He's actually quite two-footed. Yeah. I mean, that could be something to think about. Maybe that's what they are thinking about, that kind of thing.
No, I agree.
Just a quick one. It says here Frank will be with the media at 3:45.
3:45. All right, 15 minutes.
So we'll get some quotes from maybe while we're live. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
From Frank.
But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Hopefully, some more news still to come today. I'm dying for that. Here we go. Just please, Fabrizio. Please.
You know what? Even if we get a here we go, I'm not until I'm seeing him have medicals, and even then we saw Gibbs White have a medical.
He didn't have one yet.
We saw him in London or something. He was saying, he's having a medical. So until he's holding the shirt, at this point, you can't get too excited, because I just know we'll get a here we go for Eze, and then Arsenal gazump us somehow. I'd get you just even that here we
Fabrizio
go.
Better be careful with this here we go.
You better be bloody careful. I can't believe you bungled a here we go for us.
Yeah. Anyway, that is that. Let's move on and let's talk about this big game in Udine tomorrow night. I think it's 8 p.m. kickoff London time, and it is going to be one hell of a test for this Tottenham side. We saw last week against Bayern Munich. It's going to be a similar team that's out there for Tottenham Hotspur. And we got ripped to shreds by that Bayern Munich team. We really did. I know it's a pre-season, but it's the last pre-season before it all kicks off. And by that time, you're supposed to see the kind of way you're going to play in your first game. And if that game is anything to go by, I am absolutely petrified going into this game tomorrow. It's not even just that Bayern ripped us to shreds, but their kids came on and nobody heard of any of these players. And they came on and ripped us to shreds. Yeah. So I am worried going into this game. Obviously, Savinho and Eze, this is all a side point because they're not in the squad. They're not even Spurs players yet. So we're going with what we got. And the only real change I can see is Odegaard for Johnson out on the left wing. Apart from that, I think we're going to play exactly the same team.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into the predicted lineup a bit later.
Yeah, I think in terms of, obviously, first of all, I want to know from you, how big a game is this?
I think it's massive for me. It's a game that we haven't played. I don't think ever. Was the Super Cup even around when we won Europe last time?
No, new Super Cup's probably, I don't even think it's is it even 20 years old? Let me see.
I think it's the first time we're playing.
It's the first time we're playing, but how Super Cup winners? Let's see when the first Super Cup was. Okay, it's quite old. 1990?
Yeah, so...
No, 1973.
Oh, so we did play in it then.
So what, 80...
Oh, there wasn't a Super Cup in 85.
So the 1 year... No, but we won it in 72, didn't we? And then it was Ajax, AC Milan in 73.
So there wasn't 74.
So maybe it wasn't the Europa League, Europa Cup versus Champions League winners.
Well, look, we've never played in it before.
No.
So for me, look, it might not be the most prestigious cup in European football. I think the Europa League and the Champions League are obviously way more prestigious. This is probably more prestigious than the Conference League. I'll put it like that. So I think it's a big night for Tottenham Hotspur. I think it's a big night for PSG as well, because when's PSG ever played in this tournament?
Must be their first time, because that was their first European trophy, wasn't it?
I think have they not won UEFA Cup before? This is the first time they won the Champions League.
Maybe they have won UEFA Cup. I don't know. Yeah, well, I think it's. I can't see that they've played.
Yeah,
oh no, they did. They're 96.
In 96, they lost to Juventus.
It used to be 2 legs, the Super Cup.
But look, I think it's a really big game for Tottenham. It's new territory, Champions League winners against Europa League winners. We want to take that good feeling from the Europa League win and put ourselves about and show that we're here to compete. That's what I'm trying to look for it. And at the end of it, if we win, it's a trophy, and it's not like people say it's like the Charity Shield or these friendly competitions. It's not. I think it's a massive step up from that. Particularly, it's much bigger than the Charity Shield, in my opinion, or the Community Shield that it's called now.
It's got prestige.
It does have prestige, and I think it's just a level below, like the tournaments that we face every year: the FA Cup, Champions League, Premier League, Europa League. So I think it's significant if we win it, and I think it sends a message to the rest of world football saying Spurs are here to play now.
I'm trying to see when the last time the Europa League winner actually won this. I think it looks like 2018. Atletico Madrid beat Real Madrid in the Super Cup. So that was quite a while. Usually the Champions League winners do win this game, which also kind of shows that they do take it seriously.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who usually come out on top. They usually they're usually at their best. Whereas Charity Shield is a lot of the times the FA Cup winner who comes out on top.
It's worth noting though there is no extra time tomorrow night, so it goes straight to penalties if it's a draw. So I think that probably favours us.
Definitely, yeah. We don't want to go the deepest squad.
Does it not favour us because PSG, this is their first pre-season game? Are they going to be at peak fitness?
I think that is definitely an advantage. I think overall you don't want it to drag on the longer, because I think they've got a deeper squad and they can bring on players in extra time that we aren't going to be able to the same effect. So I think if you offered me penalties right now, I'd probably take it, to be honest.
Yeah.
But definitely the fact that this is their first game since the Club World Cup final. They've lost Donnarumma. Well, he's not in the squad, so they've got keepers going to be making their debut in this game. What's his name? João Neves. He's suspended, so they're going to have to find a solution to replace him as well.
Kangin or someone.
I don't know. Is all their players fit? The front three: Doué, Dembele, Kavisha.
I think they're all in the squad. Yeah.
If they're all in the squad, we'll see what kind of condition they're in. After you got to remember they won the they got all the way to the Champions League final. They then had barely any break and then went all the way to the Club World Cup final, and losing 3-0 to Chelsea. So what kind of condition they're going to be, and they've all been on their holidays. It's not, and by and large, it's not been the longest holiday, and how long they've been back in training for, I'm not even 100% sure. So there is a case they could definitely be a bit rusty going into this game. They might, every team when they're in their first pre-season game, there's usually quite a lot of rustiness and players getting back to full fitness and all these different things. So I think Tottenham should definitely be looking to take advantage of that. Does that mean we could be a bit more aggressive? Do we go a bit more of a high press rather than just sitting low at the start anyway and just see if we can catch them out early? And, that's what Chelsea kind of did. I know it was a different scenario, but Chelsea in the first 20 minutes just blitzed them and scored a couple of goals. And then actually, I think, they were 3-0 up by half-time.
The problem is with that, we don't have the attacking talent that Chelsea had on show that day. They had Cole Palmer that was running things. Like, we got no one close to that level in the forward line for us. You know? That's the issue with us. The only player I'm comfortable taking the pitch and starting this game is Mohamed Kudus. And I think maybe he can do that role for us and be the threat. But we need to be defence first. Like, if we do go and high press them early on, then it's a big chance that we just get picked off and be 1-0 down early. And if we are 1-0 down early, it could be a cricket score.
But what does Frank say? Not taking risk is also a risk.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's an opportunity early on to try and hit them and grab an early goal ourselves, because they're potentially going to be rusty.
Yeah.
And I think that might, I think against a PSG side under normal circumstances, I would say it's not worth doing. But maybe on this occasion it might be. I think that's kind of my thinking. Try and see if you can force a mistake out of them. See how rusty they really are. Test them a bit. Ask different questions of them. Don't just sit back and defend. Actually, go at them a bit early on and see if there's anything. If just press a few buttons. See what. Ask a few questions and see if anything comes out.
The thing is, right? If they're not. And if they're like 50%, 60%, they're still one of the best teams in European football with the forward players that they have in Doué and Kvicha and Ousmane Dembele and all these players, even Hakimi from right back with the goal contributions that he gets. I mean, they've got such unbelievable players. In a flash, before you even blink, they could be through on goal and 1-0 up. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I feel like against Bayern, that's what we did, and we got bad.
Yeah,
like we got. Look, of course, I'm not saying we shouldn't defend properly or anything like that.
You expect that we're going to be a lot better than we were against Bayern.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe defend similar to how we did against Arsenal, but Arsenal's a different kettle of fish at the moment.
After the Bayern game, Frank says, "Look, I've learnt a lot. Good. It was good. I've learnt a lot this game," and he's going to take some of the lessons that he learnt in the Bayern friendly into this game.
And also should learn from how Chelsea played, because Chelsea, yes, they have great talent, but it was very much a tactical win as well. The way they exploited PSG's left-hand side ruthlessly, over and over again, long balls, long passes into that space.
But you need the quality to do it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's Palmer, but I'm just saying, can you get the ball to him and get him to hold up and exploit that space? If anyone can do it in our squad, it's going to be him. And I think that's not a bad tactic to try and do that. And not only that, they had Gusto relentlessly overlapping. You had Palmer inside, and they just ruthlessly attacked that zone. If you can get Porro and Kudus to try to do something similar on that side, that's something to try and learn from. Obviously, maybe PSG would have learned from that as well, but the reality is they've not been in training for that long. So how much could they have worked on fixing that issue in time for this game? I think that's something we got to learn from the way Chelsea did. But the thing Chelsea did as well was they were very compact and they were very defensive resolute.
They were clinical, man.
And they were very clinical, but they're also, making sure that I can't remember too many click opportunities PSG actually created in that game. I think they were very defensively resolute, Chelsea. So obviously you're going to have to be that if you're going to get through this game.
Out on the left-hand side for them, it's going to be Kvicha against Porro.
Yeah.
That is going to be one hell of a battle. And on the right-hand side, probably Doué against...
hopefully
against,
Destiny.
Spence.
Yeah,
I think Spence starts.
Yeah,
I think Spence starts. Yeah, I mean, in terms of from a defensive aspect, do you prefer Spence to start or a Doggy to start? I might prefer Spence to start. I think Spence is a better one-on-one defender than a Doggy.
I think if fitness isn't an issue, I go with the Doggy. But the fact is, a Doggy's not he's not come. He's sorry, he hasn't played for a while. Hasn't had a preseason. So if I doubt he's 100%. I'll be shocked if he is, unless he's being saved for this game. So I think you just got to go.
I'm
with
more
Spence.
than comfortable with playing
I'm happy with Spence. Although Spence wasn't great against Bayern, was he? He had a few problems, but
True.
Again, against Coman. But I think hopefully against Doué will be different.
And it's not just Doué; it's Hakimi as well.
In terms of Dembele, the form he was in. Going into the back end of last season, the kind of striker he is that good or bad thing for Romero and Van de Ven to be facing?
I'm not too sure, but I can see a really intense battle from him and Cuti Romero on the pitch. He's super quick. Ousmane Dembele, in a flash, he can get in behind you. He's a clinical finisher as well. Such a dangerous player. He really is. And Romero is going to have such a big task in his hands, and I really hope he doesn't go into it with the same mentality that he had against Bayern Munich, because he was so rash against Bayern. He literally had all his eyes on Harry Kane, and he was going in on him harder and harder and harder, and could have been sent off 2 or 3 times. So we need, like in the Newcastle game, a bit more composure from Cuti Romero. Lead the team out, lead by example, and don't be too rash.
Yeah, I kind of feel like the kind of striker Dembele is, I think Romero will be looking at him, and in a way he'll be licking his lips at the fact that I think I can dominate this guy easily, right? He knows he's physically going to be able to dominate him, and he's going to be able to make sure that if he gets close to Dembele, he can win the ball off him and all that kind of stuff. But in a way that could be his undoing, because the fact that Romero, will he respect Dembele physically, in a sense that sometimes he's going to have to stand off him, and he can't always just keep going at him and keep trying to win the ball back and keep trying to be always step in first, you know, in that being in that mode, because I feel like he'll be confident enough to keep doing it. But Dembele's a smart guy, and it'll just take one moment for him to play around him.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then he's an on goal. And I think Dembele will back himself to find that moment. Even if early on he gets a couple of whacks, he won't mind that, Dembele. He'll know that just one moment, he gets ahead of Romero and he flicks it past him, and he's in trouble.
That's pretty much what happened in the 2 legs against Arsenal. He just found a couple of moments in each of those games, and he showed his quality.
And he was a killer.
Yeah, absolute killer. So that's what you got to contest with Ousmane Dembele. And by the way, what an unbelievable kind of few years it's been for him. Since being an outcast of Bayern Munich, going to PSG has given him a new lease of life, and now he's one of the best strikers in world football.
Yeah.
Unbelievable coaching there from the PSG coach and
Enrique.
And Luis Enrique. So I don't know. I just don't know how we go through this game and not get battered.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest problem I kind of see, I mean, midfield, I don't know how we win that battle. I know João Neves. I mean, who's going to come in for João Neves, do we think? PSG
it could be Lee Kang-in.
Squad. Because it could be him or Zaire Emery, potentially. So there'll definitely be Ruiz and there'll definitely be Vitinha. Those two are pretty nailed on. So it's either... Trying to look.
How do you go about winning a midfield battle with those two in the midfield?
That's the thing. It could be Zaire Emery.
How'd you do it? How'd you do it? We're going to have like Bentancur, João Palhinha. Is he going to play? Because if João Palhinha plays and he plays anything like he did against Bayern Munich, he's going to get rings around him.
Because the scary thing is, you look at the Bayern game and they had a midfield three of Goretzka, Kimmich and Olise. And they just found it ridiculously easy to play for our midfield. Mm-hmm. We were chasing shadows. And these guys are even tougher to press and even tougher to win the ball off. So if we could handle those three, I don't know how we're going to handle the PSG. I mean, I actually think João Neves is a massive miss, to be fair, because he's such a little... You think you can it's a bit similar to Modric. You underestimate him because he's a bit smaller and you think he's weak, but he's far from it. He's very strong and he's technically phenomenal. And so he's actually quite a big miss, but Zaire Emery is pretty good replacement for him, I would say. Vitinha and Ruiz, phenomenal.
Fabian Ruiz is actually such a goal threat as well.
Yeah.
But Vitinha, oh my God, this guy just does not lose the ball. He literally just never loses the ball. Like how are we supposed to contend? I was watching a video from Thogden. I don't know if you saw it. But he was at the Club World Cup watching a PSG game. I can't remember who it was against. And he did this little video, and it was like, I'm not going to speak until Vitinha loses the ball. And he didn't speak till the 90th minute.
It's crazy.
He did not lose the ball all game until the 90th minute.
Yeah, they're ridiculous. So I don't know how our midfield contends with it, even if Paulinho was at his best, which I don't know if he will be on Wednesday.
Do you start Paulinho?
Yeah, that's a big question as well. I guess we'll cover it up, but I don't know, because he didn't look like his best against Bayern.
He has had another week of training behind him, though.
But he has, so maybe he's caught up to speed, but he looked off the pace. But then if you don't start him, do we have enough experience in that midfield? Do we have enough real strength in there as well? That's also... But it's
not strength if he plays like he did against Bayern.
Yeah, of course. But if he's getting closer to full fitness, then you're going to need him. But he wasn't good enough against Bayern. If we get that Paulinho, there's no point. Tough decisions. Then forward line as well. Like, I think Kudus, not just quality-wise, but also his position is going to be the one where you're looking to hurt them. But, if it's going to be Johnson or Odegaard or Solanke up front, or I think probably Richarlison, I'm not confident of getting any spare change out of their defence at this point as well.
It is a really worrying and scary prospect. Like, when's the last time Spurs have faced someone in a big game like of this quality? Like, I don't remember the last time. What was it? Probably when we faced Real Madrid, when Ronaldo was there, Cristiano.
We've played City in the Champions League, maybe.
True, City.
So we beat them. Liverpool in the final, they were an unbelievable team then.
I think this PSG side are better than that Liverpool team.
I think so.
In that moment in time when Liverpool, because at that point
that was peak Klopp.
Well, it was just before they'd won the league and stuff.
Yeah, but they lost the league. They lost the league on like 97 points or something.
It's true. It's true.
And they beat Barca 4-0 in the semis after losing 3-0. I mean, I wouldn't say it's crazy to say that this team is better because they were amazing last season, but I don't think it's far off.
It would be an unbelievable game between that Klopp team.
Yeah, it would be. That
would be a crazy game to watch.
Do you think if we hadn't had this Bayern friendly, we'd be a little bit more confident that we could do something?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I think this Bayern friendly knocked us a little bit because we looked defensively sound for the most part, albeit the Newcastle game was a bit of a step back. We saw us concede a few chances, but the Bayern game was just very worrying. Very worrying. Like, they just dominated us. They walked through us. They were creating chances at will, and 4-0 completely flattered us. So if we go into it with any sort of the same traits, it could be double digits, literally. Like, that's how good this PSG side are.
Be interesting to see what kind of condition they are, how seriously they're going to take it. Like, obviously, I'm sure they're going to take it seriously on the day, but in terms of their preparation for this game, like, did players come back early from holiday to get ready, or is it a case of like they've achieved what they've achieved and they took their holiday and they only came back a week or something before this game? And
this is a pre-season game for them.
Is this a pre-season game, or is this like a real competitive opportunity to win a trophy for them? It's going to be interesting to see their mentality going into it. Would you be devastated if we lost this, or is it kind of like if we lose, we lose?
Look, I would have been a lot more devastated if we lost the Europa League final than losing this. I know full well we're going into this as massive underdogs, So if we win, it means a lot more than if we lose, if you know what that, if that makes sense. I think if we win it, it's so significant because of the team that we're playing against, and we get a trophy at the end of it. But if we lose, it's kind of like what we're all expecting, really, and what, like, when you're judging on the caliber of the two teams, particularly with the lineup that Spurs are going to have out there, it's if you play this game 9 times out of 10. Probably 9 times. If you play this game 10 times, probably 9.5 times PSG win it, maybe even 10.
So this is Frank's first competitive game as Tottenham manager. If he wins a European trophy, is he instant legend status?
I always win things in my first game, mate.
Is that instant legend status?
Nah, you're not a legend for winning the Super Cup, I don't think.
You're not there's a European trophy. Not a legend for winning a European trophy.
It is a European trophy by very definition, but it's not like... it's not of the same stature, like I said before, of the Europa League or a Champions League.
But if, down the line, if he wins this is a list of do you count this as like one of the trophies he's won? You know what I mean? Like,
it's counted, but I don't think when we're talking about the managers that have won European trophies, Bill Nick, Ange, Keith Birkinshaw, I don't think you'll be rolling off Thomas Frank on that list because of a Super Cup.
Is he judged at all on the let's say he wins this, but the season overall isn't as good as maybe we expect? Like, does this count towards him, like winning, like this competition winning it? Does like he have any judgment on this game, win or lose?
Depends if you like Frank or not.
Right. I'm just trying to.
Depends if you're a fan or not a fan. If you hate Frank by the end of the season, it's not going to make a difference to you. If you love him, you're going to use it.
Right. Okay. I'm just trying to.
Yeah. Do you not think that's right?
I mean, I think in general that is, but like, that's probably true. But I'm just wondering, in the club's estimation, does this game or this trophy have any bearing on how he's judged over the season?
Well, I mean, our last manager got sacked after winning the Europa League, so I don't think this game's gonna be judged on their whole performance at the end of the season. He's going to be properly judged on the league performance, domestic cups, and how we do in the Champions League, and then after that, you can start talking about the Super Cup.
So let's say we finish fifth.
Here we go with the hypotheticals.
If we finish fifth and have won this trophy, is that do you count that as like top 5 in a trophy? Is that how you see the season?
Do I see it as top 5 in a trophy? I probably will say it's top 5 in a trophy, to be honest, because I'm shameless like that. But, it's not, like I keep saying, I don't know how much more clear I can make it. It's not a significant trophy, but it's a good thing to win.
If we finish fifth and Arsenal finish second, but we win this, and we had a better season than Arsenal.
Yes.
All right, we got to win this. We have to win this, people. We have to win this.
But look, we just got to find something tomorrow night. We just got to find something. I don't know how we're going to do it.
Yeah, shit.
I really don't know how we're going to do it tomorrow night.
You
but
know
we
what?
have to find something.
I have to say, if it does go to penalties, the fact they don't have Donnarumma, I don't know how good the new keeper is at penalties. But if I know Donnarumma was bloody good at penalties. You know, think back to the Euros, find out how good he was. So if they don't have him, you know, does that give us a bit more of a chance in penalties, I guess, without Donnarumma?
Well, I can't really say that until we see the new keeper play. So it's a hard one. But Donnarumma is obviously unbelievable at penalties. So maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. We'll have to wait and see. But like you said before, if you give me penalties right now and I can fast forward time and be there in the penalty shootout, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Hands down. Hands down.
Big one.
So it's going to be a nervy kind of time before the game. I'm sure the Spurs fans are going to be there in their numbers, and I'm sure it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere from the Spurs fans and the PSG fans. They're going to come in their numbers as well. Small stadium, 25,000, Udinese Stadium. It's also the birth city of Vicario. He's going back to his hometown. So they're saying we're on home turf tomorrow night.
Exactly. So Vicario is going to be the hero.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. I think this game's actually. He was talking. I saw an interview with him talking, saying it's such a special thing for him to go and play with Spurs in his hometown of Udine. It's going to be a big occasion, a really big occasion, and I'm just hoping, I'm praying, Spurs turn up. I really do, and I think if we can get like a here we go before kickoff, that will also put a bit of a spring in the step of the Spurs fans. But I've got no doubt that. The vibes are going to be absolutely immaculate tomorrow from the Spurs fans.
Be in full voice. The atmosphere is going to be great.
It's going to be good to get back in it as well, because obviously we haven't been. Well, you were out in Korea, but it's not the same. Like
no, it's not a competitive game.
First competitive game since that we've been to since the Europa League final. Well, I went to the Brighton game, but that wasn't much of a game. So I'm going to say the first game since the Europa League final. So 2 European trophy finals back to back.
A lot has changed since then.
What's your score prediction?
I am going to go. I think it's going to be 1-0 PSG.
Is that it? Just 1-0?
1-0. I think they're going to be rusty. I think they're going to be coming into their own, and it's going to be difficult for them to be at their very best. But I don't think they're going to have to be at their very best to beat us. I think they'll get a goal, and I think without the signings of Savinho and Eze in time for this game, obviously, if they do happen at all, I think we're really going to struggle to really hurt them. I think we're going to have a few half chances. We're going to miss them. They're going to find it easy to keep us at bay, and they're going to get a goal, and it's going to be 1-0, and it's going to be Kavisha. Yep.
I am going to go for... I've spent all stream saying we're going to get battered and we got no chance. But I'm going to go for 0-0.
0-0?
0-0 and Spurs to win on penalties.
Dull affair.
Yeah. I'm going to go for PSG. I think Spurs are going to sit really deep. Maybe even a back three. You never know with Kevin Danso, Kuti Romero, and Mickey van de Ven. And I think that might serve us better in this game if we do go for a back three with Porro and one of Spencer or Doggy as wing backs. Maybe even 2 sitting players ahead of the back three as well, and like Bentancur and Paulinho, and just have 3 up top. Or was it 2 up top? I got actually through 3-5-2,
3-5-2.
I would go 3-5-2 with.
Maybe Frank's cooking up some special formation.
I would
for tomorrow.
I would actually go 3-5-2, and in the forward line have one of Solanke and Richarlison with Kudus. That's what I would do.
I wonder if Frank is cooking up something special. You never know. He's always got something cooking. I wonder if he's planned for something. He's studied PSG and he's like, all right, we're going to play this way tomorrow. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But yeah. I would go 3-5-2, and I'm just going to predict a very, very deluded 0-0 and Spurs to take it home on penalties. And me and Sim are going to be there to witness Spurs lift yet another European trophy.
Will there be tears?
Not this time.
No
Not
tears?
this time. There were no tears last time, to be fair. But look, there's just going to be pure celebration and we can party the night away in Udine. So, yeah, that's the match preview. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. Do you think Spurs stand a chance tomorrow night? Please do let us know. But next up, we are going to be looking at the predicted lineup, people. So let's go on to the predicted lineup. In terms of injury news, what have we got? So obviously we don't know because Frank hasn't done his, or he's in his press conference literally as of talking right this second right now. But what do we know in terms of team news?
Yeah, we know, well, good news is that Solanke and Udogie have both travelled and they've just been shown in video arriving in Udine. So they're there. Whether they're fit enough to start, not 100% sure. That has to be confirmed by Frank. Judging by the fact they weren't involved in the last friendly, I assume they're still probably getting back to full fitness, but they might be involved. So they put them as doubts. We know obviously Dragoshin, Kulusevski, Madison, all long-term injuries and going to be out for a significant period. Kota Takai has a heel injury that is set to keep him out for the next few weeks as well, so he's going to be ruled out for tomorrow. Vuskovic has travelled, but he's not in the squad ahead of a loan with Hamburg, so he's there, but he won't play. But other than that, everyone I believe is fit.
Archer says in the comments there's also a World Club Cup place at stake with the Super Cup. Is that true?
Oh, is that right? What, in 4 years' time? Does
we win it can't be because there's like 3 Super Cups before then.
Super Cup go to the Club World Cup. The winner of the club. No.
Are we going to the Club World Cup, people? Where is the next Club World Cup?
No, I can't see anywhere that it says that.
It maybe works in your favour towards it.
Yeah, maybe it adds to the coefficient thing.
Yeah. All right, but let's get into it. That is the team news. In terms of our predicted lineup, are we going to go for a 4-2-3-1? Are we going to go for a 3-5-2? Are we going to go for a 3-4-3? What do you reckon?
Look, I think we haven't seen any
suggestion. Surely Frank's got something cooking.
I think he might do, but we haven't seen any suggestion. Like against Bayern, we didn't check. Like I think if he was planning, I really think if he was planning a formation change ahead of the Super Cup, he probably would have played that in the game against Bayern to trial it, and he didn't. So I'm assuming he's not got something up his sleeve. We need to see the training video. The training video will be with you guys at some point today. Now,
and in that training video, you never know what they could be cooking.
Yeah. Now, I would say what would counteract what I'm saying is the fact that it went so badly against Bayern might mean he changes it up. Yeah. But I do think if he had a formation plan, I would say for the Super Cup, I think he would have played it against Bayern. If you know what I mean. I think he would have trialled it there.
I've just got a feeling that it just went so bad against Bayern. I think he said he learnt a lot. And maybe some of that learning is to change up the formation a bit.
Yeah, but it would be a complete guess to say he's changing formation. It wouldn't be based on anything apart from the fact that he likes to change his formations.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like... Look, it is a guess. I think anything's a guess at this point. But
yeah, but it's not. It's not an educated guess. I would say it's like a complete guess.
Well, it's an educated guess in terms of it went completely wrong at Bayern Munich, and we've seen from his time at Brentford that he does change up his formation quite frequently.
Yeah, I would just say we don't have any evidence to suggest he's changing it.
No, unless we see the training video and they're training with 3 at the back.
Yeah, which we haven't seen. So on that basis, what are we doing? On
that basis, we're going to go for a 4-4-2. No, I'm joking.
4-4-2.
Yeah, it probably will be 4-2-3-1. It probably will, but I don't know. There is something in me that just thinks he's going to go 3 at the back.
What do you think, chat? 3 at the back or 4-2-3-1? Same formation. What's he going? Canva says 4-5-1. I'm guessing that's basically 4. Or that's kind of 4-3-3-ish. Or 4-5-1. Yeah. 3-5-2. Anyway, I think we'll just keep it because I think that's probably the formation he's going to go with.
All right. So 4-2-3-1. In goal is obviously going to be Vicario. Back on his home turf, in his home soil. and let's hope he puts in an unbelievable performance for us because we're going to need him.
Yeah, big game ahead. I would say this is one game I think Kinski's passing ability could really come into effect.
I agree.
But I just don't know if he's going to do it because I think Vicario's shot stopping ability is also going to be important.
As well, like back in Udine, this whole talk has been Vicario, everything.
Yeah, you can't not play him.
Like, if you don't play Vicario in this game, I think I think he'll feel disrespected, to be honest.
Yeah.
At this point. So Vicario in goal, right back, Pedro Porro, that's a no-brainer. And in terms of catching PSG out with their high line, he's going to be super vital to that.
Yeah, that long pass ability he's got deep inside his own half. He's going to need that. Well, hopefully a few early crosses as well, if given the opportunity. And as I say, Chelsea really use that Malo Gusto overlap to really good effect to Porro if he can learn from that. Kavicha is not the best player to track back, so if Porro can relentlessly try and overlap with the player we're going to pick on the right, I think that's going to be very important.
Yeah, so Pedro Porro right back, right centre back is obviously going to be Cuti Romero. Frank says he hasn't picked his captain yet, which I thought was quite interesting. When is that captain going to be named? Surely it's got to be, maybe it's in the press conference now.
Might be, and we're going to need our cap. Well, for our first competitive games, he's going to need a captain for it, right? He's going to have to have picked his captain for the first competitive game.
I think it will be Romero.
When did Ange pick the captain before pre-season?
No, I think it was on the eve of the season or something.
Was it on the eve of the season?
I think so.
Or was it after Kane left?
It was after Kane left, which was pretty much on the eve of the season.
Because I'm trying to think, in that video where he announced the captain, was Kane there? He wasn't there, was he? And Kane only left on the eve of the season.
Yeah.
So
I think it was all like in the same 24-hour period.
Yeah, it must have been. Can't remember. Anyway, I think it is going to be Cuti, and I think we'll get that announcement soon.
Yeah, I think he might announce it in the press conference now, the captain. But Porro right back, Romero right centre back, left centre back will be obviously Mickey van de Ven. Yeah, I think because we're probably going to be sitting so deep, you won't really see those marauding recovery runs from Mickey. But what I did notice against Bayern, that he was much more dominating. We lost 4-0 and we created and we conceded so many chances, but he was winning a lot of headers.
Yeah, he seems to be working on that, which is something which, he's 6'4". You would think he's should be good at that in the air, but actually that's something he's struggled with, I feel, since he's come to Spurs, but definitely seemed good at that in the game against Bayern.
Oh, wow.
What?
They're saying in the press conference, Frank says Bissouma hasn't travelled because of disciplinary reasons.
Wow. Is that so? So it's not really. That's disappointing.
And he's saying Solanke's ready for is available for selection.
Okay, that's good as well. Trying to see. So Bissouma for disciplinary, maybe has not travelled due to disciplinary reasons. He says Destiny is close, so he's not. It sounds like he's not available. And Solanke is positive and available for selection.
Bissouma, man,
that's disappointing.
Constantly
Bissouma.
letting this club down.
That's 2 summers in a row he's had disciplinary.
Constantly letting us down, man. Bissouma.
2 summers in a row.
Yeah, he's done. He's done at this football.
We know we wanted to sell him, but it's just sad to end like that.
Yeah, he's done
with another disciplinary.
Absolutely done. But look, let's get back
Spence.
To Spence at left back.
Definitely Spence now, because the doggy is confirmed isn't close enough. So one thing I would say as well about fullbacks, I actually think so. In pre-season we've had this one goes far up and one's kind of hanging back. I feel like it makes sense when it's Porro and a doggy that a doggy goes up and Porro stays back. That's what we've been doing. I feel like when it's Spence, though, it should probably be Spence staying back and Porro going up.
I agree with that. First of all, because you can get Porro from the wide areas putting in those crosses, and I just think Spence is the better of the defenders.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and I feel like against Bayern, it was still Spence going up, and I think that was a bit of our undoing. I think he should have stayed back. All right. So
that's the back four. Moving into the midfield, the big question mark is João Palhinha going to play? Is he going to be...
One player with definitely Bentancur, right? He's starting.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be there, who's been a main fixture in the pre-season. So, yeah, the other 2 positions is the big one.
Is João Palhinha going to play?
Is João Palhinha going to play?
I'm going to hazard a guess and say yes. I think he will play. I'm going to say that obviously he looked out of sorts in the Bayern game. I think that he'll have a lot more training into him. He'll be a bit more ready. And I think Frank's going to think we're going to need him in this game. So I'm going to say he is going to play.
Okay, I'm happy to go with that. And I think there's a good chance because I think this game is going to need experience as well. And it's going to need some patrolling that centre. So I'm going to go, I'm going to agree with that. But I'm just a bit worried about being able to pass through them. But
I'm worried about all of them. But yeah, especially João Palhinha.
So the question is, do we go Sarr or do we go Bergvall?
Sarr or Bergvall. So obviously Sarr has been there, has
Done really well.
He's done fairly well. I think it probably will be Sarr. I kind of want to see Bergvall there, but I think Sarr just adds a bit more kind of work rate. I know Bergvall also works hard as well, but Sarr's got that endurance. So I think Sarr plays there.
I think Sarr plays there as well. And as well, he's been getting in more goal-scoring positions. I think that's something he's been working on. So I think if it was up to me, I probably would go Bergvall. But yeah, I think he will go Sarr for the beginning bit. And maybe Bergvall will come on at some point. So I think the obvious one off the right will be...
Off the right, is Mo.
Mo Kudus. He'll be there. Then the questions are...
For me, Odebear. I don't want to see Brennan start on the left in this game. He's putting stinkers on the right and the left all through pre-season. Odebear, every time he's played, he's impressed me. A willingness to drive, a willingness to cut inside, get shots off. If we're going to hurt them from the left-hand side, it's more likely going to be Odebear than Johnson, in my opinion. So I think he's going to play Odebear.
I think this game could be a perfect game for Brennan to be a super sub as well.
Yeah, potentially.
I think coming off the bench,
Johnson
if we need a goal,
in a cup final.
Need a goal. All right, I want to see Odebear there, or maybe even Tell, but I think Odebear's been the one who's been there. So we're going to go Odebear. And the striker.
Yeah, I think it's Solanke.
I think it's Richarlison.
I think he's saying Solanke's back. He's fit enough to play. I think he's going to start.
I think he's going to be on the bench, Solanke. I think Richarlison's been playing most of pre-season. I think he's the one who's been starting, and I don't know if Solanke is fit enough. He might be fit enough to play, but is he 100% to start? Is he ready to go from the beginning? Is he at his freshest? Is he going to be someone to come on, right? Or is it, is he going to be on the bench? I think he goes Richarlison.
Could he play Johnson as the striker?
He could actually, if he's cooking something. I think he is. I just think he's going to go Rishi. I think he's going to start Richarlison up front.
Doesn't fill me with much hope, Richarlison up front in this game.
I just think that's the direction he's going to go. I think he's been I think he started him.
You've been filling YouTube with a lot of Richie propaganda in the last few days.
I just think he's going to start him. That's all I think. I think Solanke's back and he's available to play, but doesn't mean he's available to start.
All right, go Richie. I mean, I do think it will be Solanke, but we'll go Richie.
I think it's going to be Richie. I think he likes Richie.
So that is, well, he said that he liked Bissouma as well, but clearly not anymore. But that is our starting lineup, the predicted lineup for PSG. Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Jed Spence left back, a back two of Van der Ven and Kuti Romero, Palhinha and Bentancur and double pivot, Pape Matar ahead of him, Kudus on the right, Odebear on the left, and Richarlison up top.
So, okay, yeah. There's been a little update on, he's gone into more detail about Bissouma. He said he's been late several times, and now this time, the latest time was one too many. There needs to be demands and consequences, and this time there was a consequence.
What is he doing, man?
I reckon he missed the flight. He was late for the flight. And that was something, if you remember, Ange said. He said, I want you to be one of the leaders in the dressing room. I really believe in you. And he said the next day he was late. And he said like that was really disappointing that the next day he was late.
I like it though that actually Frank is disciplining him for being late when Ange comes like, oh yeah, he was just late the next day. Like Ange only really disciplined him for the balloon thing, never disciplined him for being late. So look, for me, Bissouma's done at this football club. It's just problem after problem after problem. More problems than good performances for Bissouma. And it's just very frustrating. And I think on his day, he can be an unbelievable midfielder. He was so vital to us in the Europa League towards the end of that. But
it seems as though he's always been his own worst enemy.
100%.
Bissouma.
100%. He needs to go. He needs to go. We need to find a buyer for him. And when these problems prop up, clubs that he wants to go to diminish. That's the issue. He's only got a year left in his contract, and maybe he'll be willing to go somewhere. But, maybe as time progresses, we might even be willing to let him go out on loan for a year, just to see out his last year of his deal. I don't know. But I think he's done here.
Yeah, look, we knew he was up for sale this summer. Maybe he knows that as well, which has maybe led to him behaving in this way. But
why was he? He did the same under Ange.
Yeah, I don't know how often he was late under Ange, but we know he was late that one time after he said he was going to be a big part of the dressing room. But look, I think we always know it's his mentality that's always been a big problem, and a lot of managers have not been able to sort that problem out. And it seems as though it's come to a head now. He's been left out of a Super Cup squad, which I'm sure he would have had maybe a part to play if he was, wasn't late all the time. And this is professional football. Being on time is the most basic thing for them. And I know a lot of managers. If you hear a lot of managers when they come into jobs or whatever, and they talk about fundamentals, all of them talk about be on time, don't be late. That's like just a simple thing, just as respect, that kind of stuff.
It's
so
disrespectful to everyone that you're working with. Everyone's busting their gut, be on time, working hard, and he's there's like doing balloons and coming late to training. Like, what's he doing here?
Yeah, and this is a senior player. It's not like he's a young player as well. He's nearly 30, and he's still late. He's still consistently late. Like, that's just that at some point. And I'm assuming the fact that he said he's been late several times. I'm assuming like every time he's been told, right? You can't do this, and it's kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And look, I don't know what's going on in his personal life, whether there's stuff going on that's leading to this, but whatever the case is, it's just sad that this is the way it ends, and it's something that has plagued him throughout his time at Tottenham. And we know his time was up anyway, probably this summer. But I think if there was any question about it, I think we have our answer now, definitive.
Yeah. And let's hope that, we can see an ending in sight in terms of a club coming in and getting a deal done. I like this. I thank him for the, Europa League run and everything like that. I thank him for the first 10 games under Ange Postecoglou when he was like the best midfielder in the Premier League for that small amount of time. But apart from that, I think his Spurs career has been a bit of a disaster. That's the reality. So, is what it is. I had such high hopes for him as well when we signed him. I thought we were getting one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, and he was going to be an unbelievable player for us. But it hasn't worked out for that like that. He hasn't got the right mentality, hasn't got the right professionalism, and I think his time at Tottenham is pretty much done now. I don't think we're going to see him in a Spurs shirt again.
Mm-mm. He says captain will be named tomorrow in the team, and the leadership group will be known by the end of the month. So I'm guessing whoever's captain tomorrow is the captain, I'm guessing.
So the captain will be named tomorrow in the team. Why can't he just tell us who the captain is?
Secret. He wants it to be a surprise. I'm guessing it's going to be Romero.
It's no secret. Just say the captain is Kuti.
And he's talking about Kinski. He says, Kinski, I'm very pleased with him. There's good competition. Last season, we needed 4 keepers. In my opinion, he's got a great season ahead of him. And here at Tottenham this season, I'm guessing that's in response to the links of him maybe going on loan.
Keepers?
He said last season we needed 4 keepers.
Right.
Which is
anything else?
Not at the moment. There's still a few filtering through. He didn't really. He just said, I'm not going to talk about him.
Classic.
He said there's a lot of good players out there. That's all he said. There's going to be more quotes filtering out. But that's all we have at the moment. I'm guessing we'll get the full thing in due course.
Yeah, absolutely. But obviously the shocking thing about that is Bissouma being left out of the squad for disciplinary reasons, which I believe is probably the last we're going to hear of Bissouma until he's sold from this football club. But that is it from us today. We take a very early flight tomorrow morning to Verona, then driving to Udine, me, Sim and Amir on European tour once again. And it's good omens as well because us three work together in Bilbao as well. So it's going to be the same result we'll bring home the
Exactly.
trophy.
Come
We'll be back in the studio on Friday, preview for the Premier League. So a lot to look forward to. Watch along will be Ashmatic and Marlon, who were also on the watch along when we brought home that European trophy. So all the omens are the same. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We'll see you all out in Udine. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.